Hello and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I have been able to record, but I am happy to say that I have finished Betty and she is ready for her big reveal. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for checking out this video. My name is Kim and I love yarn. This channel focuses on that love through my knitting and crochet an occasional spinning journey. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. Betty was my entry to last month's Things We're Making Thursday crochet along, and I've talked about this before. I'll drop any links associated with that below. Also, you're going to find the links to all the other participating channels as well as the current patterns and the past patterns, so you can check those out as well. But the group had picked a pattern, and it was for this Yarnspirations lacy shawl, which is really pretty, don't get me wrong, but it is 1,008 yards of a worsted weight yarn, and that's a lot of heavy yarn to be working with for the month of August for me here in Alabama, considering that every day it was over 100 degrees. So it was not something that I was extremely excited for. But when I saw that pattern initially, I immediately thought it looked like a bat wing. And so I decided that I was going to make it into a bat wing. And originally I was going to try to find some other kind of bat to put this on. But then I decided that I'm just gonna make my own and then use that as a video tutorial here on the channel. So that is how Betty was created, I guess you can say. And I'm pretty happy with how Betty turned out, considering she's my first pattern to really jot down and will be putting out into the world. Well, I take that back. I have a cow, but that was just like pretty much a stitch that I put into a pattern. So yeah, I don't know. But Betty will be eventually a free tutorial on the channel, and I will type up her pattern and put it on my blog so you can access it there. I originally said that I'm going to try to get that video made sometime in the month of September. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that. There's a lot going on this month that I completely forgot about as far as birthdays and things with family, but I'm going to try my hardest. It's just really hard for me to record in here because there's always cats fighting or a dog barking at them or children, because I'm a homeschool mom, or the phone ringing because we own a small business. So that is why once I get out to the shed, things are going to be so much easier to do and record because it's so quiet out there. However, there's not electricity yet, and so it's kind of warm, and it's warm. But I think Betty turned out pretty cute. She's not amazing by any means. She's just a basic body, and I designed her so her legs are on her body. You don't have to seam or sew those on. The only thing that you're really sewing on is attaching her head, attaching her ears. But I even designed them so it makes it super easy to do that, and attaching her arms and then kind of tacking her shawl slash bat wing down to her arms and to her body. I think she's kind of cute. I started to go in and give her little fangs, but to be honest, I couldn't get them to work out how I wanted to with yarn, and I was trying to use as less materials to make her as possible. So she only has 2 yarns in her, and that is this dark gray, which is I Love This Cotton. This is a yarn that is 100 grams and 180 yards. It's a worsted weight yarn. I used a total of 52 yards of it and 29 grams. That yarn is from Hobby Lobby and it retails for only $3.29 when I bought this. I probably bought this a couple of years ago. It's probably like $3.99 now, let's be honest. And then her shawl, lacy shawl, that pattern and her eyes and her mouth are all this kind of variegated. This is peaches and cream stripy. I did use 42 yards of it and 33 grams, and this is in the colorway flannel. But I have this much of both yarns left over. So she only took 94 yards total. So it's kind of a quick project. I honestly did not think it would take me a whole month to figure out Betty. But I will tell you that Betty has had 3 different heads. She's had 2 different sets of ears, and I had to make her body twice. So maybe that's why it took a whole month. But I wanted to make her in the best way possible to make it easier for anybody who's even a first-time crocheter to make her along with a video once I get that video out. And I think I've succeeded in that. So I'm pretty pumped about that. And it's kind of like encouraged me and really to get the other pattern recipes that I have jotted down in notebooks out to you all in video form once I get out into the shed. So looking at Betty, I did use 15mm eyes, and this is something else that I really kind of fought myself on. At some point I kind of wished I made them smaller, and sometimes I'm happy with them. I don't know. What do you think? Should they have been smaller? I can always change that when I go into make the video and make it again. I did use pipe cleaners in her arms, so that way she can keep her little arms kind of raised and show off her bat wing, which I think even the underside is pretty cute, but that back is just really pretty. I talked about how I made this shawl portion in that previous Betty video, but when I make the tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and go over all that step by step as part of that video. Then you can follow along and not have any kind of issues. I did attach the bat wing to Betty's little butt, and Betty does have like a little booty. She also has kind of like a little bitty bat belly, which I think is kind of cute. And I gave her some kind of pointy ears. I don't know. I think she's pretty adorable. I used just a regular single crochet. There is a crochet stitch called an X stitch that you can use. It's supposed to make these look a little bit more neater and tighter. I crochet kind of tightly anyways. I'm pretty good on gauge. I used a G hook, which is a 4mm with this worsted weight yarn, and she still is a good gauge and consistent, so I don't really worry about doing that stitch. But if that's something that you're interested in, you know, I'll definitely talk about that in the video and maybe show an example of that. As far as attaching Betty's wings, I just kind of tacked them down at this portion to here and then to the back of her arm, because that's kind of how a bat wing is attached. And I don't know. The more I look at her, the more she's kind of growing on me. I do want to say that in the previous video, I mentioned making Betty a different wing. And originally, I think that was my initial thought. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I am drowning in whips over here. And I've got to correct that situation. Because fall is coming, which is what inspired Betty also the fall season, because I keep seeing these bats in the afternoon around our house, and I love them. I really want to make some bat houses for them, but I have got to get some of my whips from whips to FOs. And even though there's a new craft along with the Things We're Making Thursday group this month, I'm probably not going to be officially participating because I do not want to start another project. I have a big knit along happening in October, which is the Stephen West Knits Mystery Knit. I've done it every year for 3 years. I've casted this thing on. The first year was the geography, which I love that thing. People hated the different aspects of it, the brioche and the shrimps, but I think it was just a really fun and enjoyable knit. And I chose colors that were very bright and happy. Last year was a Twist and Turns, and I have not finished that. It is still on my needles. I think maybe because the yarn choice I made, like the yarn I chose is very kind of muted. I was kind of feeling this muted, moody colors, and I'm just not feeling those anymore. And I'm still going to finish it, and so that's one of the things I kind of want to work on, but I have other smaller whips that I'm really trying to get done to get my whip section of Ravelry condensed. So that is my main focus. But the month of September, this month, the knit along is for mitts and fingerless mitts. And there are several patterns that they have chosen for this. These are video tutorials or patterns through the content creators of this craft along. So like I said, all that information is down below. Now, if you want to join this craft along, you can contact Heather. She's the first name under the section that says participating channels, and just let her know. She can get you added to the Facebook group, because there is a Facebook group, and you do not have to have a channel to join this. If you do, it just kind of is a way to provide content to your viewers. But going back to my month of September, I'm not going to start a new project. However, I do have a fingerless mitts knit on the needles. So this may be a great time for me to pick that up and finish it, since everyone else is working on mitts, and I could still kind of be crafting along the same item as them without actually casting on anything, and that will get another whip off of my whip part of my Ravelry projects. But since we're talking about stuffies in general, the other active whip that I'm getting off my current needles is my Friendly the Deer. And this is a pattern by Olka Novistica. I don't know. I can't say her last name. I purchased this pattern when Russia first invaded Ukraine, and it's a little friendly deer, and I have its body completely done along with its little shoes. This, I'm actually using a 2.25 millimeter hook. That's coming out, and it's almost done. So I've already almost finished one of its arms. So it's gonna have these little long arms. I just have to do the other arm and sew on the pieces, and it's done because I've already completed its ears. That's its ears, and then its antlers. And that will be a project off my hooks and needles as well. But yeah, that's my focus this month, is whipping out my whips. I have a total of currently 16 whips. I would really like to get that down to like 10 if possible before October, which sounds a little daunting, but I think I can get it pretty close. So I have 2 blankets. Obviously they're not going to go anywhere, and then I have my temperature snakes. I haven't touched those at all last month at all. That's how busy it's been, or this month. So those will not obviously be get done. And then I have my little stockings. I need to finish the 5 that are on my needles. They've just been sitting in the basket, and they won't really be done by the next month. So that's already, what, 4 projects. I have another blanket that won't be done, so that's 5 projects. And then that Ursula Vibes, that's 6 projects that won't be done. I won't be able to get done with Roll Me's Mystery Straw, that's 7. The Tiny Trimmings kit is actually in hibernation. I won't get that done, so that'll be 8. So yeah, I think knocking off 6 is a pretty decent number. That's another blanket. That's not going to get done. That's 9. And I probably won't get done with a mini kit 10. We'll say our goal is to get done with 6 whips. So I challenge you to knock out as many whips as you can in this month, and let's have a Whip It September and get some of the stuff off of our hooks and needles before fall. Because if you're like me, fall is a time for crafting and starting things new. And I just want to do that with you guys. So let me know down below how many whips do you have, and what is your personal goal to get done with this month. And let's whip our whip pile into shape, shall we? And if you make any videos about your whips, be sure to tag me so I can check them out and I can cheer you on as you work through them. And yeah, until next time, you can see me again.